Welcome to the Empowered Working Mom Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Jocelyn Young. Our mission here is to amplify the stories of all moms so that they can be seen, heard, and supported in their motherhood journey, regardless of whether they're balancing motherhood with an external career or choosing to dedicate themselves fully to motherhood. We believe here that everyone has a unique story, and we found that storytelling is an impactful way to connect and learn from one another. Because sharing and listening to each other's stories makes us feel connected, supported, and inspired. We're excited to bring you diverse stories from fellow working moms like you. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and listen in to today's story to feel acknowledged, encouraged, and most importantly, that you're not alone in your experience as a working mom. Hey, mama friends. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and today I'm super excited to share the conversation with my dear friend, Kim Romain. I love it when my closest and dearest friends come onto the podcast to share their story with me and you, the listener. And these friends are amazing human beings who I've gotten to live a season of life with. And as you all know, friends come and go, but there are those friends who you meet in a season of life that you didn't know at the time, but their friendship was a gift that you needed in that chapter of life. And that is my friend Kim. So I was so grateful to have her on the podcast this season. Kim is a life and business alchemist with 20 plus years as an attorney, artist, and nonprofit executive who guides conscious leaders toward ease, equity, and purpose through her work with the rising visionaries. And in our conversation, we dove deep into how motherhood can be this incredible catalyst for transformation, the revolutionary concept of conscious separation, which you're going to have to listen to hear what that even means, and Kim's powerful framework for turning what feels like scary, quote-unquote, leaps of faith into confident next right steps. Now, here's what I know from our conversation. When we do the internal work to truly know ourselves, we create space for everyone around us to be themselves too. And that, my friend, is real transformative magic. So get ready for some serious aha moments on today's episode. And as I always say, grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's dive in. All right. Hey, mamas. Welcome to another episode here on the Empowered Working Mom Revolution podcast. And I am super thrilled because I have a really good friend here. We go back to the pandemic. So welcome to the show, Kim.
Thank you, Jocelyn, for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Just to, see your face again is lovely.
Oh, thanks. We haven't touched base in a while. So it was so great to just reconnect. We chatted for a bit and we're like, oh yeah, we should start recording.
Yeah.
So I would love for you just to do a little intro, say hi to our listeners, let them sneak peek about who you are. And then we'll dive into your story because I can't wait to hear more.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm Kim Romain. I currently live in the West Island of Montreal. As we're recording this, I have a 15-year-old daughter, newly minted 15-year-old daughter. I know it's a little crazy. And a wonderful husband and 2 fur babies. And I own my own business. I am a life and business alchemist. I work with change makers and visionaries to really help them ease into their work and out of burnout and overwhelm so that they can continue to make the impact that they're here to make in the world.
Ooh, love it. I love the word alchemist. You don't hear that every day.
No. Well, I do. But
yeah, you do.
I actually just renamed my the framework that I use to the alchemy of ease. Right? That's like sexy.
That's very sexy. Oh my gosh. Like very juicy. Okay, wait. For some of our people who are listening, right? Our mamas who were like alchemist. Can you give like maybe a TLDR of like what that actually?
What's an alchemist?
Yeah. What's an alchemist? What is alchemy? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So the way that I am using the word alchemy is it is about blending. So when we think about alchemy kind of as a tool of the trade that they're talking about is generally metallurgy. So it's blending different metals together to come up with a new alchemical outcome. So it's a new chemical outcome, different compounds blending together. The way that I use it is in that process of self-liberation, of healing ourselves and therefore healing the collective. We need to unblend those pieces and parts of ourselves, those beliefs, that energy, all of the bits and bobs, and then also learn about all those parts of self that never actually had a chance to see the light. Some of it is going to be shadow, some of it is going to be light, some of it's going to be mundane and in the middle. But for us to see all of those bits and pieces so that we can alchemize them and bring them into the world the way that we are meant to uniquely do that, not how anybody else is doing it in the world.
Ooh, I love that definition. I'm so glad we recorded that because like that is a very tangible, I don't know, the word practical definition for anyone who has never really, was like, what is she talking about? Like, I love how you explain that. Right. And there's some power, there's power in that. And like how so much like self-agency and self-empowerment there. And so I'm wondering, like, how did you get to this point of being able to like share the way that you just shared and talk about that? Because I'm just imagining like there have been maybe a moment or moments in your life that really catapulted you and really, helped you, evolve into who you are today. So would you mind sharing, like, are there some certain life moments that you have experienced that kind of led you to where you are today, and what were those experiences like?
Yeah. There's a lot of them actually, but the biggest one was the birth of our daughter, who's becoming a mom. I, for a long time, didn't think I wanted to be a mom. Kids scared the hell. I loved kids, but thinking of having my own scared the hell out of me. My own personal traumas growing up, and then understanding as an adult, understanding and seeing the generational traumas, the ancestral traumas that my family members went through. And I was like, why would I possibly want to bring somebody into this world? And then I got pregnant and I was like, oof, here we go. And then I found out it was a girl and I was like, oh, Jesus, no, like that can't happen. I can't bring a girl into the world. And yet I did. And every moment of my pregnancy, my birth story, and for sure the first year of her life, it has continued since then. But really from that moment when I found out I was pregnant all the way through to her first birthday, every day I learned something new, not just about this little being, but about me. And things that I liked, things that I didn't like, things that I had no idea even existed, suddenly showed up. Beliefs that I had held on to for a really long time, ways of being, kind of the way that I thought that the work that I thought I was here to do, and the way that I thought I was supposed to show up in the world, and what it was also supposed to look like, didn't seem right anymore. And I had to find my way through to say, what is it that's important to me? What is important for me to impart upon this little soul who I knew was much smarter and wiser than I was, just the way she came into the world. And day one, right? Like they tell you they're going to be a little floppy. They're not going to raise their heads. Day one, she's up on my shoulder and she lifts her head and is looking behind me. I'm like, oh, I'm so screwed. Like, here she is trying to climb, like not away, but climb into the world, right? This little independent spirit. And I would have conversations with her and ask her things that I knew she couldn't respond to with words. I mean, she was less than a year old. But the way that she would look at me and the way that she would coo and make noises or look away, it taught me to listen, to look, to watch more closely And in seeing her do that, I saw myself. Not as a
Mhm.
reflection, but I could see myself as separate, which is a really weird thing, right? Because our kids bring
Yeah.
the world and we're like, I have this part of me that's now outside of me. The opposite became true for me. It was, I have this individual that I get to help shape, right? And get to learn about because she is independent and separate from me, which means I'm independent and separate from everybody else. And I'd never seen that before.
Wow. Okay, hold on. Wait, like, can we pause here? Because I'm just sit with that. Like, that is a powerful revelation.
Yeah. That's what changed my world.
Like the whole idea of, or just even the concept of separate.
Mhm.
Like, I find that I'm going to speak for myself, but it's as a parent, that awareness of separate, like she is, I have two daughters, right? They are their own soul and identity, and I'm separate. I find that sometimes it's hard to actually like do that,
Mhm.
like, and have the awareness of that. One, the awareness, and then to act on that notion. And
Yeah.
then even when your daughter was really young, like how'd you do that?
So I've reflected on it a lot over the years
Yeah.
because I didn't know that was different from anybody else's experience, right? We're
Uh-huh.
all in our own experience when we're, we
Yeah.
we can share things with our friends. And I didn't have a lot of people around me who had newborns that were around the same age. I had a couple of friends that did, but to be
Mhm.
going through it at the same time and having those conversations is different than somebody who has an older child and is reflecting back on what it was like for them because they're not in it.
Yeah.
So over the years, I have reflected, and what I've realized is there was such a tethering between my own mom and myself that went far into my 30s and probably even 40s. And she and I used to quote unquote joke about the fact that the umbilical cord was never truly severed.
Mm.
And I think energetically, I didn't have the words for it at the time because I didn't realize this was happening, but I think it was important for me to claim my own identity and to give that gift of identity to my daughter and to say, we are absolutely connected. And my daughter and I are very close. And she's her own person and always has been. And that has been my number one priority is for her to see herself as her own person because I had our daughter just before I turned 40. So I had 40 years of not feeling like my own person.
Mm.
And I didn't realize that until I had my own little person for me to be like, oh, no, I want something different than what I had. But
Yeah.
again, I like energetically, it was that place of you are your own person. I just knew it. I saw her. I knew it. It significantly changed my relationship and how I saw my relationship with my husband. And over the last 15 years, we've continued to parse that out because, right, I still have expectations that he's going to show up in a certain way. And then, but now I have the language to say, oh, I held that expectation and you are your own person. So let me understand that a little bit more.
Wow. So that's I'm like a very like, I don't want to say, I'll say healthy, but like that's putting judgment on it. But it's like it feels like l- light and expansive in a very unique way, right? Like, yeah, because it's honoring yourself and honoring the other person, which I find that sometimes it is hard for us as parents.
Mhm.
to do that.
Yeah, it's hard for us as children to do that,
Yes,
right?
totally. Yeah, I really
I mean, you and I
resonate with
have had
you.
a few conversations about parents.
Oh yeah, yeah. That umbilical cord has, took a long time to, honor and then separate.
Yeah, right. Well,
So,
it's the what I didn't realize then, and again, I have language for now, is that there was an energetic cord.
yeah.
And when we, with love, release those cords, it doesn't mean we're releasing the connection. And that was always the fear, is if I
Mhm.
release this cord holding me to these people that I love, then what happens to me?
Yeah.
That's really scary. What happens to us? What happens to me? And I don't know how I knew, but when she, so, all right, side note, sorry. The day she was born, part of my birth story, I had a C-section. It was a plan C, and I have significant anxiety around pain, and
Mhm.
so the anesthesiologist was like, "The minute she's out, I'll give you some drugs. You'll be good." And I'm like, "Awesome." So she's clear. Apparently the drugs are in. And I turned to my husband because she's across the room under the little giraffe light and all that, and they're doing
Mhm.
what they're doing. And I turned to him and I go, "Is the umbilical cord really that long?"
Okay. The oh my god, symbolism. Oh,
Right?
dying here on the symbolism.
So, but to understand then, right? Okay, clearly it's not that long. And oh, we're still connected, even though we're not connected.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to hold on tight
Mm,
because that connection isn't severed just because she's not literally attached to me.
yeah. Yeah. Such a such a good reminder, as moms with kids that are just growing up, with our kids as they go through each different life stage. Because I think it is scary.
It is.
It is totally scary. It's like, well, what does it say about me? Right? Like,
Mhm.
yeah. We're going to take a pause to soak in what Kim just shared about conscious separation, and we'll be right back with more of her wisdom on how this internal work actually serves everyone around us. Hey there, mamas. Let's talk about that 4 p.m. panic moment we all know too well. When you realize you have no idea what's for dinner tonight, let alone the rest of the week. I've totally been there, standing in the Trader Joe aisle, trying to piece together meals while juggling work calls and school pickup times. And that's why I'm excited to share Plan to Eat with you, the meal planning service that has honestly been a super game changer for me and my family. I've been using it for years. Plan to Eat lets you organize your recipes, automatically generates shopping lists, and helps you plan your meals for the week in just minutes. No more last minute takeout guilt or scrambling through Pinterest at 5 p.m. What I love most is how it gives me back control over my time and our family to be able to eat healthily. I can plan our meals during my Sunday coffee moments, and the rest of the week just flows smoothly. Right now, my listeners can get 20% off their first year subscription. Just head to plantoeat.com/REF/empowered mom. That's plantoeat.com/REF/empowered mom. Trust me, your future self will thank you when you're not stressing about dinner every single night. Now, back to our conversation. Welcome back, mamas. Let's dive right back into Kim sharing how conscious separation can feel scary because we wonder what it says about us as parents.
When it's not about us.
When it's not about us, yeah.
Well, I'm going to take that back. Their experience of life is not about us.
No.
We can influence or impact it, absolutely, sure.
Yeah.
Our experience of life, our experience as a parent does impact us. That is about us.
Yeah.
Those are two separate things.
Back to the separate. Yep. And how do you separate that?
Mhm.
I'm hearing it takes a lot of self-awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be
You're going back to that alchemy. It's like, what part is me? What part is not me? What part is afraid? What part is joyful? What part is scared? What part is nervous? What part is jealous? Like all of the things. And as they show up, creating space for understanding that the other person has their own set of stuff they're going through.
Yeah.
So, yes, self-awareness, and kind of that step further of not just focusing on the self through that self-awareness, but an awareness that you're dealing with another self outside of yourself. It's a lot of
Okay.
stuff.
Say more, because I know some listeners like, what? Like your mind's probably like, okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around what Kim just said. But say more when you said, like, not only are you working with your own self-awareness, but awareness that there's another self.
Yep.
Okay. So say more, because I'm like, yeah, I'm vibing with you. I get it. But then for some of us as listeners, we might be like, you just blew my mind, Kim. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So 100%, because when I think about it, it blows my mind still too.
Yeah.
But right, this is that kind of that place of consciousness that I love to play in. And it's the understanding of the internal and the external.
Okay. Yes.
Right. So we have our internal experiences. Nobody else in this world ever has or ever will experience the world in the same way that we are experiencing it. That is ours. That is uniquely ours. Right. So understanding our internal experiences is a gift to ourselves. That is self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
There is external to us all these other human beings, all these other beings, right? Because it's also animals and plants and all that good stuff. But all these other beings that are also having their own set of experiences that nobody else will ever experience like them. So it doesn't matter how close you are. If you're siblings, if you're a parent and a child, if you're partners and spouses, or whatever it is, does not matter how close you are. You can never experience the world in the same way as anybody else. And so the moment we recognize that there's an internal awareness and there's an external awareness that somebody else is having an experience separate from you, even if you're in the same situation, allows you to be open to their experience. Did I just make things worse or different?
No, it makes it more clear in terms of like you having that internal self-awareness helps you bring awareness to your external and knowing that they're having their own internal experience of the same experience that you might be sharing.
Yep.
Yeah. And that could, that applies for everything. If I think back on like us as moms with our kids, that's like a powerful parenting tool right there.
Yeah. If they're melting down, if they're losing their crap, it's not about you. And it's not about you being a failure as a parent. It's not even embarrassing for you. Like the thing, anytime I would see, and our daughter had a couple of them in public too, that I was just like, oh, what is happening? The greatest gift we can ever give to any other parent when we see that happening is to go over to them and say, it's not about you and you're okay. Do you need anything in this moment? Right? But just letting them know that you see them and you're not judging them. Imagine what that would feel like. Because we're so connected to that child. And it's like, what am I doing wrong? right? We make it about us, but it's not
Yeah.
about us. The child's having an experience.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
experiencing all over the place.
But I get what you're saying. Like it takes self-awareness to understand that your child is having that experience,
Yeah.
right? And going back to because your child is having that experience, it's not about you. It doesn't say anything about you because I know I've had those experiences. I sometimes still do, like,
Yeah.
and that in those moments, my first thought is, oh my God, people think I'm a horrible parent right now, a horrible mom. I'm so embarrassed, right? Like, but that is is not about like that's such a tendency. Like
Mhm.
going back to what you said earlier in the conversation, it's like that's the that's the conditioning or that's the part of us that we have to separate and re-alchemize.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
And that's the
Mhm.
alchemy. That's my journey
Mm,
to alchemy
mm,
is that place of, oh, there's all these aspects of myself that I haven't truly explored because I've been so focused on how people are experiencing me, how I'm being perceived in the world, or how I'm receiving people. Right. That's a very different energy that most of us go through life. Right. It's, and I'm not saying this in a judgmental way, it's a very self centered way of going through life
mm,
versus doing the work of deep self awareness, of deep self liberation, right? Liberating ourselves from the conditioning and making choice on who and how we want to be and what we believe in the world, right? Really understanding our ethos and our values allows us the space, allows other people the space to be themselves. So it's
mm.
really actually, even though it's focused on internal work, it's really about the collective. It's about the interactions that we have.
It's in service
Yeah. Yeah.
of everyone around you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I I'm curious. Could you share with us maybe a story of how this served or helped you through maybe a life challenge or something that was really hard that you experienced?
Yeah. So kind of recently, so that in this past year, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and as her only child, she lives in Chicago. We're in Montreal right now, so I needed to travel down there, spend a couple weeks with her. She's made some life choices that have left her in what I would consider a less than ideal situation to be going through this. Um, and I was pretty angry with her about it because I felt like, well, why is this my responsibility? Like, I want to be there for you on one end. I want to care for you. I want to love on you. And yet I'm pretty pissed off at you at the same time.
Mhm.
And I needed to come to terms with what I was angry with, to feel the feels, to be in the presence of those emotions and that energy that needed to be expressed. Um, and I needed to understand she's the one with the diagnosis. She's the one that has, even though it's her life choices, her own choices, she understands and feels also that she's on shaky ground
Mm.
and maybe didn't feel great about that. But the way she deals with life is put on a smile and put on a little bit of lipstick and it's going to be good. But that's her experience. That's not mine.
Mm.
Just because I disagreed and it made me feel unstable, insecure in the way that there was a lack of security for her. The being able to create separation between her experience and my experience allowed me to fully be there for her through what she needed and then to deal with my stuff separately. But I could see there was a difference, right? It was my stuff and her stuff.
Yeah.
And we both needed to deal with it. She didn't, however, need to deal with my stuff. That wasn't her responsibility at that time. when I went back for the second surgery for her reconstruction, she's doing great, by the way. She's 80 years old, did not need chemo, did not need radiation, had a beautiful reconstruction surgery, and the healing is phenomenal. Like, thank you. Doing great. And when I went back for the reconstruction surgery, I was still in all my feels because there wasn't enough time that had gone past. I hadn't been able to alchemize and compost some of the stuff that I was going through emotionally and energetically. It was harder for me to create that separation when I was there. But I recognized that. So I was actually able to tell her, I'm not able to hold space in the same way like I was right around the surgery and all of that, but I was there for an extended period of time, and that extended period of time felt very crunchy to me. And I said to her, this is what's happening. I recognize that I am blended what's happening here, and I'm not able to hold space for you in the way that I would want to for you to have your own individual experience of this. And I'm sorry for that. Didn't change that I wasn't able to do it, but I was able to use language around it, and she was able to understand, oh, that's what's happening, right? You're not it's not that I'm not mad at her, but it's not like that I didn't want to be there, that I didn't care, that I didn't love her. Because all that's true. I do love her. I'm glad that I was able to be there for her. And at the same time, I was still carrying a lot of anger.
Yeah. But naming it did something.
Yeah. Naming it gave the space.
Yeah. The separation.
Yeah. So I didn't experience it the second time like I did the first time, where I was like, I could just let her have her separate experience. Naming it the second time allowed me to invite her in to understand that my experience was overshadowing her experience for me at that moment. Right. And we don't communicate like people don't communicate like that.
No.
My experience is overshadowing your experience, Jocelyn, and I'm going to need a minute to deal with that.
Wouldn't it be awesome if we could talk like that on a daily basis? But I for sure don't.
Well, who's aware of that?
Yeah. I mean, just the fact, like, gosh, this world would look so different if we all talked like that. But I think that I'm hearing it really takes an understanding of your own needs and what's happening internally in order to name it. Like there's certain work that needs to be done in order to name that, because I know I find myself in moments when you're in the moment, it's hard to name what exactly you're experiencing internally that's really impacting your external. Right? I mean, it's taken me a full last month to really name what I've been feeling internally, and then now I'm ready to externalize it with, my husband. I'm like, I don't need, so like, that's just, I mean, but there's power in that.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad you shared how that helped you in that scenario with your mom. I think that's super relatable for many of us.
Right. I mean, we have these relationships that we both adore and, would lay down in front of a moving train for 100%. And the pain is real in those relationships too sometimes.
Yeah.
And to be able to recognize that one of you may be experiencing that relationship differently. So, right, that's what happened the second time. Mom was there like, I'm so glad you're here. I love you. This is wonderful. And I'm like, nah, I'm not feeling it at the moment.
Yeah. That takes honesty with yourself.
It does. And awareness, instead of just being flippant and bitchy. It's like, which I could have been, and I probably was, quite frankly, because that's what I was feeling. And at the same time, and again, like I'm not a complete jerk. Like this was post-surgery when I knew she was doing fine and she was okay. And I was honoring that I had a lot of feels that had nothing to do with her surgery.
Yeah.
And I was put in this situation where I couldn't swallow them.
Mm-hmm. The
Right.
acknowledgement is power.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm. It's like, when we talk about vulnerability, it's like allowing yourself to be vulnerable with yourself
Yes, exactly.
in order to be vulnerable with the other person.
Which
Yeah.
I think sometimes is much harder.
So hard. Easier said than done, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I am so curious. Like, I want to touch upon, really how you got into the work that you are doing right now, right? Like, was there a leap of faith to do the work that you're doing right now? I know your backstory, I do, but I would love for you to share, like, what was that? Did it take a leap of faith, and what was that like, and how did you do that? Because the reason why I ask this is I know that, for us as people who hold the identity of mom, or even working mom doesn't mean you are working outside the home, you mean working inside the home, but like, we all are experiencing changes of seasons in life, whether it's career or with our kids. And that requires a form of a leap of faith sometimes to take action. So I would love to hear, like, your story and how you came to doing this work, because I know you haven't been you didn't start off here.
I
So
did not
yeah.
start off. Yeah. Um, it was a series of leaps of faith.
Mm,
And I think one of the blessings, one of the gifts that my mom, again, about my mom,
mhm.
gave to me growing up, um, was seeing her take leaps of faith for herself. Now, I didn't know at the time all that it took to get to those places, but I saw her following herself. There was nobody leading her. And so I saw that modeled for me. And so when I went from being in the theater world, which is where I started, into the web development world, into the legal world, into the nonprofit world, and then eventually into the entrepreneurial world, each of those jumps just felt like the next step.
Mm,
And the bigger leaps that I've taken from externally that look like they're big leaps, to me never felt big.
mm,
And I think part of the reason they never felt big was because I wasn't sure of the outcome. And what I've learned about myself, I'm not super outcome driven, I am process driven, is that I had spent so much time in process of learning what was working for me, what wasn't working for me in whatever place I was, to then be able to say, okay, now this feels like the right next step. And then I was okay in that for whatever period of time. And then it was, oh, now this is the right next step. So lots of leaps of faith,
yeah.
but I never felt like I needed a parachute.
Ooh, great metaphor.
Thanks.
Great metaphor, because I think that some people feel like it's like jumping out of a plane.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If it feels like it's jumping on a plane, you haven't done the work to get there yet.
Ooh, say more.
So
This is
it's
juicy.
it's part of that self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
It's the we were talking before we hit record of like this big vision that I have
Mhm.
for my business and for where this is going. And it's massive. And I know it's possible. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It can absolutely come into fruition. And if I go into it and say, this is what I'm doing, it's not going to happen because I'm not yet fully ready for that full vision. I'm ready for the next step into it.
Mhm.
I'm ready to have these elements that I don't already have into place to come into being, into fruition. but I've done the work to get there. Like, this is not a new vision. This is a vision that goes back decades in different iterations, even of my career. And it's like, oh, I see how that kept growing, right? I can see that in hindsight. But when we do that inner work to understand ourselves, then the leap doesn't feel like, oh my God, I'm going to crash. And like, there's a possibility I'm going to crash and burn. It literally is just a step.
I love that, because I was just thinking, I'm like, it won't feel like a leap. It'll just feel like the next step.
Yes. Yeah. It looks like a leap from the outside, and that's okay. Internally, you've done the work that you know it's just the next step.
I love that reframing of how we think about leaps of faith, right? Versus it's a step of faith, right? Because, and this is not tied to any religion, everyone, don't come at me, all right, for that. But because, a recent conversation, the last conversation with another guest here on the podcast, we talked about like trusting your gut when you are having, doing these steps of faith or leaps of faith, and how for a lot of people that feels scary because it feels like jumping out of a plane with a parachute. And what I'm hearing here is like, well, when we get to really know ourselves and understand ourselves deeply internally, who we are, how we're designed, how we function, right? Like, then these, I'm going to put in air quotes, leaps of faith don't feel, you can trust it. It doesn't feel like a leap. It just feels like the next right step.
Yep. And
right?
that is the alchemy of ease. That is,
We bring it around.
it's the alchemy of ease, because that's how we, so if we are leading with fear, if we are thinking that this thing is going to be scary, alchemize that. Get yourself to the point where you know yourself well enough to know that that even if worst case scenario happens, whatever, you'll deal with it. It's just going to be a fact. It's just going to be a thing. It's not again, going back to your child melting down. That's not a reflection on you. If you take a step, if you take this leap of faith, this step of faith, and it doesn't turn out the way that you want it to, that doesn't make you a failure. It just makes you having taken that step. And what have you learned?
Okay, y'all, I'm having aha moments in here. This is why I love talking with Kim. It's just like, it's really separation of who you are. You are not placing your identity on each of those steps.
Bingo.
There we are.
And that goes back to, right, that moment when I got pregnant and then had our daughter. That separation has become such a catalyst for change in my life, because I can see everything as separate from myself and the totality and wholeness of myself within myself. I'm not, right? I am a mom. I love our daughter. She's an amazing human being. I know I'm a great mom. Like, we don't hear enough people say that. Please say that to yourself. Like, everybody, I am a great mom.
Everyone say it. I'm a great mom.
Beautiful. Love it.
Awesome. Yeah.
I heard that ripple. And my worth, my value is not tied to that human being and her successes and failures. That's tied to her. I am here to support and to love and to encourage her and, right, provide for her in the ways that I can, and then guide her into the direction that she wants to go, not the direction I want her to go.
I got this image of like, you're walking beside her, but not carrying her versus carrying her.
Yeah. And that's what, imagine if we did that for everything, our businesses, our work, our loved ones, our parents, our, people that we disagree with.
Imagine.
Imagine.
Just imagine. Y'all, this is the vibe when Kim and I talk. Like, yeah, I hope y'all are having fun with us as much as we are here. Oh my gosh. I love everything, how we just really dove deep into really what it means to alchemize within ourselves, right? And the power of that and the impact of that. So, as we're wrapping up here, what would your lasting words of wisdom be then for our listeners?
Love on yourself. And by that, I mean, know thyself. Spend the time, spend the energy, resources, and I don't mean necessarily money, to actually know yourself. Because when you know yourself, you can love all those pieces and parts of yourself, and you can see yourself as whole, and therefore you don't have to attach to those things that are outside of yourself.
Oh, whew, that was a big nugget of wisdom, golden. As my tween would say, you just slayed that. Well, Kim, how can people get to know you more and connect with you? Can you share a little bit more about, the work that you do and then how people can connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. The best way to find out what I'm doing in the world is to head over to my website at kimromain.com. At the time of this recording, the only social media that I'm taking part in is LinkedIn at this point. So we'll see how the time pans out if I'm still there. So go to my website. That's going to be the best way. And I always have something brewing. There are all sorts of resources on the website, ways that you can start tapping into that alchemy of ease and finding ways to connect with yourself and therefore your loved ones and your teams and your businesses on a very soul-led way.
Oh, awesome. So magical.
Thank
magical. Well, thank you so much for being here on the podcast. Are you ready for Mom Moments in a Minute?
I am.
All right. Okay, here we go. So first question, there's 3 questions. So first question, to have a moment of peace and quiet to yourself, which place would you choose out of these 4 options? The bathroom, the car, the bedroom, or the closet?
The closet, because mine is set up as my meditation room.
What?
It used to be a bedroom and it turned, the people who own the house turned it into a closet. So.
Oh, y'all take some note. If you have a big closet, turn it in your meditation room.
Yeah.
That's so genius. Okay. Second question. It's an open-ended question. What's your favorite thing to do with your daughter?
Oh, everything. Literally everything. I love just spending time with her. If we have to pick an activity, we love playing games. We love board games.
Ooh, what's your favorite board game?
Ooh, right now we're spending a lot of time playing Clank. We love Clank. We've never played it. It's like a dungeon. It's very cool. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Gotta look that up. And lastly, to relax, what would you choose out of these 5 options? Going to the spa, a hike, taking a nap, reading, or crafting?
I'm a Manny Jen. All of the above.
No, of course you would. Y'all, if you don't know what Manny Jen is, look up human design. Go to Kim's website.
There's plenty of
info there. Okay, Manny Jen, you would do all 5.
What? I mean, depends on my mood. I can't.
You can't pick.
No, I know I go into my closet, but to be alone. But like those other things, I don't know.
Love it.
Choose my adventure.
Very Manny Jen response. Well, thank you so much for just your time and sharing your story and so many nuggets of wisdom and helping us really, do that internal work and how that's going to not just serve us, but everyone else around us. So thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you. Alrighty, moms, I hope you enjoyed and feel empowered and seen from today's conversation. Our mission here on the podcast is to amplify the stories of all moms so that you can be seen, heard, and supported in your motherhood journey, regardless of whether you're balancing motherhood with an external career or choosing to dedicate yourself fully to motherhood. And we would appreciate your support because your support matters. And here are 3 ways to support the mission of the podcast. First, you can leave a rating on Apple Podcasts so more moms can discover this podcast. You can select a star rating by scrolling down on the Empowered Working Mom Revolution show page in the Apple Podcast app. 2, you can write a review on Apple Podcasts so more moms can find a place of solace, comfort, and belonging through this podcast. You can do this by scrolling down on the Empowered Working Mom Revolution show page in the Apple Podcast app and tap Write a Review. And lastly, make a one-time donation to the podcast for as little as $7 or whatever amount feels best for you. You can click the link in the show notes to make a donation. We appreciate your support, and thanks again for listening in and joining me here on the podcast. I look forward to sharing with you another inspiring mom moment story next week. So until next Wednesday, moms, have a great day.